who is Final Fantasy's best thief? This is a really weird question. You'd think that the best thief would be the thief that steals the best. But if there's nothing good to steal, how worthwhile is that skill? And what if they're really good at dealing damage? And what if they're really pretty and make me want to give them all my valuables? And what if they take my heart? Well, I did the math. I'm like the Ada of Final Fantasy, except I have no physics degree and I have no idea how lift and drag work. Well, okay, thief number 5 is Ramsza from Final Fantasy Tactics. Reclassed as a thief, duh. And honestly, I strongly considered not putting him on the list at all, because while they're speedy, the thief in Final Fantasy Tactics is actually not the best thief in the game.
Wait, what? Wait, what?
Let me come back to that. One trend you'll see in this list that I alluded to earlier is that often a thief's best quality is not their thievery. But that is not the case with Tactics. The thief's steal skills are actually kinda wild. Once you have the right skill learned, you can steal literally anything from an enemy. Let's start with stealing equipment. Headline, you can steal the enemy's weapon. Yes, their weapon. Meaning if they're a physical unit, their damage goes from Goku in Super Saiyan 7 to me. Yeah, I'm kinda weak.
Are you a weakling?
Oh, me?
But armor can be stolen too, including some of the most powerful accessories in the game that can only be acquired by theft. For example, the Chantage perfume, which gives permanent auto life status, or the ribbon, which prevents all status effects, or the Vanish cloak. This makes a character invisible until their first action, meaning they can just walk up to a boss and with a powerful attack, finish it off before it can do a single thing. And that's not even the most bonkers ability available to them because they can in fact steal your heart. That was not just a Persona 5 reference. Steal Heart causes confusion, and confusion is incredibly useful in this game since it just disables an enemy for 3 turns. And yes, bosses can't be confused, but they can be beaten off, struck down by confused teammates, which is great. But I mentioned that there's a big problem, and it's not just my awful jokes. Thieves are not the best thieves. Not by a long shot. And here's why. The percentage chance to steal is dependent on speed and the type of item you're stealing. And the first problem is that thieves don't have the best speed stat. That honor belongs to the ninja. But even worse, the monk class with its martial arts ability gets a bonus to its steal chance. And the monk's attack up ability for some reason also gives a bonus to steal chance. And the thief cannot have both of those abilities at the same time. But that's not even the worst of it, because why steal one item with your hands when you can steal all of an enemy's items with just your voice? And that's exactly what the mediator ability can do with its invitation ability. The chance of its hitting is low, and you can't take anything from bosses with this method, but when it hits, you not only get the enemy's equipment, you get the enemy itself. And if you're a sadist like me, you just kill that enemy, turn it into a crystal, and steal all of its abilities too. And just for fun, if you're just using steal to disable an enemy and you don't care about plundering their equipment, Meliadul can just destroy it with 100% accuracy. And also, she's hot. But another thief who's kind of hot is, oh no wait, she's 14. Bad.
Well, girl, how old are you? I'm getting nervous.
Thief number 4 is Yuthi from Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, that's the transition. While Final Fantasy VII is a game where anyone can steal, Yuthi is technically the one who can do it canonically. She literally robs your team blind and forces you to pursue her if you want your materia back. But even ignoring the story beats, Final Fantasy VII gives thieves some pretty great tools. Stealing requires a materia slot for, you guessed it, the steal materia, and after it levels up, steal automatically becomes mug. And since mug deals damage in addition to stealing, this is just a straight up upgrade. And near the end of the game, the ability to steal gets another upgrade, the Mega All Materia. This materia makes every single magic, ability, and even regular attack hit all enemies a set number of times. And this includes mug. That means that you can steal from every single enemy in battle with one attack. And like, cool, you can steal from everything, but is there anything actually worth stealing? Well, yes, there is. Thank you for asking. You can literally steal enemies' nuts.
Get those nuts away from my face.
No, not those kind of nuts. I mean you can steal Zeo and Carob nuts to breed chocobos. These nuts allow breeding chocobos to become green, blue, black, and gold chocobos. Don't ask me how that happens. I don't know. I'm not an ornithologist. But more importantly, the gold chocobo can access this little area right here that contains the most powerful summon in the game, Knights of the Round. And granted, there's a lot of work that goes into reaching this point. The thief is a chief contributor, but the chocobo is the real star of the show here, and requiring assistance from a big old bird keeps Yuthi out of the upper echelon. But one thief who needs no help from others is thief number 3, Final Fantasy VI's Locke. Locke is one of those thieves, though, that isn't in the top 5 because of his ability to steal, but rather because of his ability to do everything else pretty passively. Though he is technically one of 2 characters who can steal. Locke can do so natively, but both he and Shadow can equip the thief knife. This sword has a random chance to use Mug when you select the attack command. And while that doesn't disqualify Shadow from being a thief, it does in fact make him a worse one, so get out of here. That being said, Locke is able to steal some pretty incredible equipment from enemies. One of the best, as is tradition in these games, is the ribbon, preventing all status effects. But that actually pales in comparison to 2 incredible relics he can steal. The Genji Glove, which allows a character to equip 1 weapon in each hand, and the Master Scroll, which allows a character to perform 4 attacks instead of 1 at the cost of making critical hits impossible to achieve. But it doesn't end there, because he can equip both of these items along with the most powerful swords in the game, Ultima Weapon, Ragnarok, and Lightbringer. So if he equips 2 of those swords and the Master Scroll, he can attack 8 times. That enables him, at maximum, to deal 80,000 damage in 1 turn, and he set up that big PP damage all by himself. But what if there were a thief who could do that big PP damage and also provide amazing utility for the entire party? Well, that would be Zedane from Final Fantasy IX, who is coincidentally the number 2 thief on this list. Zedane's abilities in and of themselves are already powerful, and his ability to steal new equipment only makes them better, because in Final Fantasy IX, enemy equipment is absolutely crucial to powering up characters. Each piece of equipment can teach a number of abilities to your characters, and from the jump, Zedane can steal daggers that give him additional thief abilities. And those abilities serve 2 purposes. First, each has a unique effect, and I'll talk about one of them in just a moment in greater detail. But when Zedane enters trance, his thief abilities all transform into humongously damaging skills that just take the click of a button to absolutely wreck. But Zedane isn't the only one who benefits from thievery. The armor and weapons he steals can provide new abilities to everyone. Most notably, the Holy Lance can be stolen from Ark, which will yield the Dragon Crest ability for Freya far earlier than she'd be able to get it otherwise. And after killing 100 dragons, she can deal 9,999 damage by using this skill. But this isn't a video about dragoons, it's a video about thieves, so if you want to see a video about the dragoons, which will probably have to be formatted differently because there aren't that many of them, let me know in the comments. I'll figure it out. I will figure it out. And Zedane has one more skill that we have to talk about, and that skill is called thievery. Not stealing, it's the thievery skill that he learns from a weapon. This skill does damage based on Zedane's speed and the number of times he's stolen, meaning that if Zedane steals enough times, he can do 9,999 damage guaranteed. However, the huge work it takes to get there keeps Zedane out of the number 1 slot. But before we talk about the best thief in Final Fantasy, I have a few honorable mentions. Clive in Final Fantasy XVI does do an awful lot of stealing, but he kind of just beats everyone up and takes their powers. And I don't think it counts as thievery if your stealing kills your opponent. Final Fantasy VIII is an interesting case. The game doesn't have a dedicated thief, but the Guardian Forces Diablos and Bahamut can bestow the Mug skill onto any character who equips them, or junctions them as it were. And while they can definitely nab some useful items, the card mod ability is far more useful, so I don't think those GFs can take a top slot. The Final Fantasy I thief is a good unit, but it also can't steal.
Oh, check it out! I got his wallet! Nice!
And I think that disqualifies them from being on this list. But the thief in Final Fantasy Tactics Advance is quite useful. In Tactics Advance, you learn spells by equipping items, much like in Final Fantasy IX. These allow your characters to learn more powerful skills earlier than they normally would. However, the power level that you gain from these steals provides a lower increment of power boost, so that keeps them out of the top 5. But the number 1 thief in all Final Fantasy is definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's so stupid. But do please hit that subscribe button if you're enjoying this video, because it does help, and also it's not stealing. That didn't work out. Okay, whatever. Let's move on to the number 1 thief in Final Fantasy is Riku from Final Fantasy X. Riku takes every single thief trope and improves it. Let's start with her base ability to steal.
It's showtime, girls.
every other thief on the list has only a percentage chance to steal. That makes them inherently unreliable. Riku, though, has no such issue. Her first attempt to steal will always be 100% accurate, and her chance of success is halved on subsequent attempts. From the jump, she also has the best agility in the game. That means she gets more turns than everybody else that she can use to steal, or even better, to take advantage of the items she's gathered. Because in Final Fantasy X, Riku's items are all usable items, and while it would be lovely to steal weapons, Riku can do one better, but I'll talk about that in a moment. What Riku steals she can use with the special use command. Item use is faster than a regular attack and deals damage irrespective of Riku's offensive stats. This makes her indispensable in challenge runs, like for example, no sphere grid runs, and I did one of those on my channel. I will link it in the descridly-do for you to watch later. In these kinds of challenges, she's often the only character who can do significant damage to enemies, particularly later in the game. But even if everybody else can use the sphere grid, her path offers a ton of speed, meaning the use command becomes incredibly powerful in her hands. But the utility of this command goes far beyond damage. She can also inflict status effects on enemies that can go so far as instantly killing them. She can also buff allies and quickly heal status effects. And all of this with zero investment in her character. But that's not the only command Riku has, because her limit break yields the mix command. Riku takes 2 items and throws them in a blender, and the effects can be staggering. Her Hyper Mighty G, for example, imbues the party with Protect, Shell, Regen, Haste, and Auto Life, making it possible to withstand huge attacks and hit faster. Her Mega Phoenix revives both other party members with just 2 Phoenix downs, acting as a great emergency button if something goes wrong. But my personal favorite, Quartet of 9999, makes it so any hit inflicted by a party member automatically does at least 9,999 damage. So a multi-hit limit break from another party member, or even a multi-hit attack from Riku herself with something like a fire gem, can cause a huge bolus of damage. But also remember when I told you that Riku couldn't steal weapons? That was like a minute ago, so if you don't remember that, please consult a physician. Not me, I don't know why you're having this problem. Anyway, the items she steals can be used to customize armor and weapons. These can give them abilities like evade and counter, break damage limit, overdrive to AP, and honestly, too many useful abilities to count. But most importantly, all of these things make Riku the best thief in Final Fantasy. And if you'd love to hear about the best white mage in Final Fantasy, you should watch this video right here. Thank you so much to the Tantacles who make these videos possible and sponsored this video. Bye-bye.